Representative Mack. Representative Mack, I believe you brought a great audience with you today, and they have been super patient to wait. So let me commend all of our folks that are here today that came for, I believe we are here for HB 684, and it's in a substitute form. Ms. Roberts, read it in for us.
HB 684 by Representative Mack amends, enacts, and repeals certain provisions of Title 17, the Education Code, relative to the behavior of students with exceptionalities, to provide relative to the use of seclusion and seclusion rooms, to provide relative to the use of physical restraint, to provide for reporting and documentation, to provide installation of cameras in special education classrooms, to require teacher preparation programs to include instruction on the use of seclusion and physical restraint of students with exceptionalities, to provide for effectiveness, and to provide for related matters.
My good friend, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Representative
Thank you,
Mack?
Mr. Chair. Yes, sir.
We're glad to welcome you here.
Thank you.
I'm blessed. You happen to be
My first time in Senate Ed.
I know, and you're one of my reps. So I'm glad you're here today. On your
Yes,
bill.
sir. Yeah, so I just want to say this bill improves the educational experience for our children with disabilities in the public school system. I want to say it enhances transparency, with the parents. It requires crisis intervention training, and it requires cameras, like Ms. Roberts said, to be put in the classrooms for observations. I think this bill is a win-win for everybody. And before we get started, I got a lot of people to thank. It's a long, long list. I'll try to remember everyone that helped put this bill together. It was such a pleasurable experience to put the bill together. And I want to thank those involved with Bessie. I want to thank those involved with the Department of Education. I want to thank those involved with ARC. I want to thank those involved with the charter school systems, the School Board Association, just everybody involved with the whole entire process. It was just such a wonderful experience, and it's a pleasure to be here today to be able to present the bill to you.
I can truly echo that. Ashley, good morning. It's afternoon, I'm sorry.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. And Senator Mack, Representative Mack, I've had the privilege for my entire 10 years of working with the disability community on a variety of issues. And you're right. It's some of my happiest moments have been working with you guys. You all continue to work. We're so proud of you. So introduce yourself for the record and speak on behalf of the bill, and we'll move along.
Awesome, thanks. Good morning. My name is Ashley McReynolds. I am the mother of Cooper McReynolds, who is now 19 and used to be a student who received special education services in East Baton Rouge Parish Schools and who is the victim of the inappropriate use of physical restraint and seclusion. Thank you, Chairman Edmonds and committee members, for allowing me to speak today. I work at the ARC of Louisiana as a program director, and I love everything that I do there, especially helping families navigate raising a child with intellectual or developmental disabilities. I want to thank Representative Mack for taking on this bill and supporting us when we brought him this issue. I have had the honor and privilege to work alongside the Louisiana Developmental Disabilities Council, Disability Rights Louisiana, the Louisiana Public Charter Schools, Bessie, and our Department of Education to get this bill into a posture that aims to make classrooms across Louisiana safer, not just for our students with disabilities, but also teachers and other school employees. I want to thank everyone who worked tirelessly over the last several weeks to get this bill into its current posture. The practices of restraint and seclusion disproportionately impact children with disabilities, including those with autism, intellectual disabilities, emotional disturbances, minorities, and also boys. Students with disabilities are impacted more by restraint and seclusion because schools and/or classrooms are sometimes not well designed to meet all of the needs of their complex disabilities. And teachers and other school personnel are not properly trained in CIT, trauma response, and other de-escalation techniques. I will be the first to admit that this bill is very different from the bill that we had originally filed and the bill that we wanted. But getting a bill in education to pass is truly a daunting task. And it takes all players coming to the table willing to give and take. And I do believe that this is a great bill. And I just want to highlight some of the changes before I conclude. We will be eliminating the use of mechanical restraint. We will be working with Bessie and the Department of Education and Higher Ed to add crisis intervention training and effective strategies for behavior management of students with disabilities into teacher certification. This will allow teachers coming into the classroom to be prepared and have at least a minimum basic understanding of these strategies and techniques. Clarifying who can use physical restraint unless in emergency situations, changing up the notification requirements of incidents of restraint seclusion to school administrators, and reporting requirements that are sent home to parents. Requiring school administrators and/or special education directors to review camera footage after an incident if the incident occurs in an area where a camera is installed. Requiring that IEP teams reconvene if there are more than 2 incidents of restraint and seclusion in a school year. That number used to be 5. Reducing the number of minutes that a student can be held from 5 to 3 before it is considered a physical restraint. Requiring that IEP teams notify parents of the medical opt-out of restraint and seclusion. This language has always been in statute, but there wasn't any language around educating parents on this option. Requiring that all of the LEAs install cameras in all of their special education classrooms with the monies that have been given, regardless of parental consent. And then LDOE will also be developing a CIT training that only certain school employees will be a part of, and those will be a part of a CIT team, and those will be the ones to complete this. This training is being developed with the use of IDEA dollars, and I just want to give a shout out to the department for their support and prioritization of these dollars for this training. I know there's so much more to this bill, but for the sake of time, I'm going to stop there. Thank you again for allowing me to speak, and I'm here to answer any questions that y'all might have.
Thank you, Ashley. Please introduce yourself again for the record.
Good morning. I'm Ashley Townsend with Louisiana Department of Education. I'm just here for information.
Great. All right. I know we have a question in just a moment, but I am going to read in some cards first. Here are those that are in favor, not wishing to speak. All green cards. Ben Lemoyne, Bessie, Angel McGee, self. April Hampton, self. Zhang? Get close. Zhang, Karen, Zhu? How'd I do? Close? Good. All right. Kristen Reed, Christy Curtis, Cynthia Posey with the Louisiana Federation of Teachers, Mimi Webb, Mariah Brown, Louisiana State Medical Society, Odell Wilmer. You got your daughter with you? Yes, sir. She behaving?
Yes, sir.
Good. Welcome back. She's a good, faithful. She makes a lot of committee meetings, doesn't she? Yes, we've seen you guys in finance. All right, and Journey Wilmer, all in favor, not wishing to speak. And then Kelly Monroe's here in favor, but is willing to provide information if requested. I have some others that would like to speak. Before we get there, I'll go to my good colleague, Senator Mizell.
There we go.
Chair, can I interrupt just for a half a second? I'm so sorry, Senator Mizell. I wanted to get some amendments offered up. Should we do that now?
We're doing it. Let's get to
Okay.
Senator Mizell's question.
Okay.
And then
I'll be really brief, but now I feel like I need to see the amendments because you may be messing a good thing up here.
There you
You're it's good amendments, right?
They are good.
They are.
I just want to say, we had a conversation years ago, and how innocently we thought saying cameras would be put in the classroom. Looking back, it didn't accomplish what we had hoped it would accomplish, but I love that you're doing it this way now. So thank you, Rep. Mack, for fixing something that had good intentions but didn't bring about what we hoped. So at the appropriate time, unless the amendments are really bad, I'll move favorable.
We're gonna have a really good, not really bad. Thank you, Senator Mizell. All right, let's offer up, and I'll offer up 2431 for the author. Members, we're handing those out now. Representative Mack, on your amendment.
Yeah, so there's a change. Amendment number 3, we're just going to delete line 26 on page 10. The rest of them are as written.
Okay.
Do you want me to explain a little bit of the others?
So we're gonna-
we can let Ashley explain a little bit. I want to
We're
say
going to
that-
actually move, if we're moving to adopt Amendment 1, 2, 4, and 5.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
There we go. Any objections to the adoptions of Amendment 1, 2, 4, 5? Hearing and seeing none, the amendments are adopted. All right, I do have some others that would like to come to the table. If they would continue to like to come to the table, let me announce those, and then we'll bring you back to close.
Thank you.
All right, Tori Rocca is here and would like to speak. Caden Webb here would like to speak. And is it Vivian? Vivian Webb. And then I have one other, so we'll have to take, next would be Sarah Vandergriff. All right, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Out of respect for your time, I will be brief. My name is Tori Rocca. I am the Policy Director at Disability Rights Louisiana. We are the nonprofit that serves as the designated protection and advocacy agency for people with disabilities in Louisiana. We've been working on this legislation with the ARC of Louisiana, the DD Council, the Department of Education, and others for about 4 or 5 months now. We are in support of it. It was created, in part at least, in response to the legislative auditor report from last year on restraint and seclusion, arguing for improvements in practices. This does have improved reporting, which was one of the points that the legislative audit reports raised, that incidents were sometimes going unreported, or it appeared to be. Improved training, money for cameras in the classroom, and better monitoring, and we are in support of this. That's all.
Yeah, and I want to add to this because I've been involved in multiples of these when we had multiple committee meetings, and this has been a pretty long-running issue of trying to get to a resolve. I'm hoping, obviously it's a move in the right direction, I'm hoping that I hope the bill really enacts all we need to do, but it is an ongoing process. But I know you guys have worked faithfully on it, and we want to get this done for our families because we want to eliminate any kind of abuse or any kind of struggles as best we possibly can. And thank you for your continued work because you guys are faithful to continue to get this right for our families. I want to thank you personally.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. I think the only other person I had was Sarah Vandergriff. Okay, come on up to the table. I'll have the final three. And if you ladies would introduce yourself for the record. Thank you. Please. Caden? Who wants to go first? Go ahead. Was that?
Oh, you want me to? That's fine.
Please.
Good afternoon, I think now. Sarah Vandergriff Kelly with the Louisiana Association of Public Charter Schools. We are proud to not only put in a green card, but to also thank this community for working with us on the bill. We provided a lot of feedback when it was first drafted. As Ashley mentioned, it went a little bit different from the initial intent. But what was happening is that you had a law that wasn't quite working for all kids. But it did not necessarily mean, from our point of view, that it was a law that needed to totally be removed, because then you could have jeopardized some safety of teachers. And ultimately, what we found, I think, was some really good compromises that actually, I think it's going to end up being a great bill.
Good.
I'm really excited for how much the Department of Ed is leading into this, with including having training available this summer. But you're adding to this new concept of really what sensory rooms and better appropriate ways to really serve kids. But this bill is about all kids, and how do we protect all kids, as well as how do we help train staff of all the different ways to do a better job of navigating behavior issues. So we're excited that we're putting some better definitions into it, some training, et cetera. I'm sure that there's some more tweaks that between now and the floor, I believe, just to get the bill in a perfect posture, because it's a complicated process, as you all know. But we want to be on the record saying that we officially support this bill, and happy to have been a minor part of it.
Thank you for your help, always.
Yeah.
All right, Vivian, would you introduce yourself for the record?
My name's Vivian Webb. Can my brother go first?
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Caden Webb. I am a 19-year-old triplet, and I have autism. I live with my family up in Freeport, which is in Caddo Parish. When I get overwhelmed, I tend to lose my words because I was nonverbal until I was almost 6 years old. When I can't communicate my needs, I tend to go into a meltdown or shut down altogether. When this happens, my body no longer listens to my brain, no matter how badly I would like it to. It simply goes on autopilot. When I was little, instead of understanding all of this and following my IEP, the adults around me had a habit of responding to my frustrations with restraint and seclusion practices. Sorry, my pronunciation. If I hadn't melted down yet, I would. Restraint and seclusion is a harmful practice that I am here to ask that you do away with in schools. If you cannot do this, I ask that you at least carefully define and monitor the use of such practices. I also would like to see crisis intervention training. I ask that you require schools use the previously allocated cameras funding to install cameras in all special education classrooms, even if parents don't ask. When I was little, whenever I would start to melt down, I would get restrained by the much taller and bigger adults in the room. They would stand close behind me, wrap their arms around me to take my hands in theirs. Then they would cross my arms tightly and hold me close to them so that I couldn't move. Then, because they were so much bigger than me, it felt like they were picking me up by my neck. It was probably more like they were very tall, and I was short, little, and squirming, struggling even. You see, I have a sensory disorder that makes me startle if touched from behind, even by my own parents. Unexpected touch makes my body go into what's called flight or fight reflex or mode, which means it senses danger and tries to keep me safe by getting as far away as possible. This is a reflex reaction to stimuli, which means I cannot control it, even if I want to. Struggling only makes restraint worse, with my arms crossed in front of me and my hands are still being held by a much taller person. It makes you feel like you're being choked, like you can't breathe. This would send me into a full-blown meltdown. It made me feel as if they were trying to kill me. I vividly remember how a football player-sized man would forcefully restrain me like that, then force all of his weight onto me, crunching me up into this little ball. It really put strain on my body, especially on my spine. It felt like he was trying to break me in half. I also couldn't breathe, and it was very scary for me. I was probably 7 or 8 at the time, and this was supposed to be a trusted adult. Every time they would restrain me, it felt like I was going to die, either from the lack of oxygen in my lungs or the amount of pressure on my body. I was just a little kid who had no idea what was happening. I honestly thought they were going to at least break my arms, break my back, or worse. I struggled trying to get away, but anyone would in that situation. You would do the same thing. Struggling made them carry me to the sensory room, which was actually a seclusion room. Then they shut and locked that door, leaving me in there all by myself, in a melted down state with my brain on autopilot. This meant my body did the only thing it could do when in survival mode, try and get out by any means possible. That seclusion room was the size of a closet or a very small office. It had cinder block walls and a tiny window that was so high up, not even an adult could reach it. When the locked door wouldn't open, I would kick it and run into it, leaving me with even more bruises and marks on my body than the ones left by them, restraining me to get me in there in the first place. I would try to break out of the room by running into the walls as a flight or fight response, much like Kool-Aid Man you see on TV. Of course, I could never get out of that room because of the locked door and the cinder block walls, not to mention the adults standing just outside watching. I didn't know it at the time, but my sister and brother would have to watch all of this too, and so would other students. My sister even used to try and save me and stand up for me, which only got her into a lot of trouble too. Mom dropped off this happy kid who wrote to school singing "Everything Was Awesome" from the Lego Movie, only to be called back to pick up her screaming, crying, bruised, bleeding, and hurt little boy. Later on, I can remember telling my mother how I felt like I was going to die because of all of this. I felt like they were trying to kill me. None of this is nice. None of this is right. This is why I ask that you support stopping the use of restraint and seclusion practices in schools, and if you can't, at least define it. I ask that you allow crisis intervention training for staff, and I ask that you direct schools to use that previously allocated cameras funding to install cameras in all special education classrooms without waiting for parents to ask. This will help kids like me have a better chance at accessing their education and feel safer in school. Thank you for listening.
Myself, thank you. That was excellent. I appreciate your very descriptive, and that gives us a picture of why we need to do this bill. So it's people like you that come in with such good, defined testimony that we can understand it. Thank you for helping us understand. And I was born and raised in Shreveport, so we have that in common as well. All right, now, Sister Vivian, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, sir. Good morning. My name is Vivian Webb. I am a self-advocate and college student from Shreveport, which is up in Caddo Parish. My brothers and I are 19-year-old triplets with autism, which gives us firsthand experience on restraint and seclusion practices, and why these are harmful practices that do not belong in schools or anywhere for that matter. I am here to ask that you support removing seclusion and restraint practices as a means of discipline from schools. Crisis intervention training in schools would also come in handy, and if you could have them use the funding previously allocated for cameras and install them in all special education classrooms, perhaps everybody can be safe. When we were little, it seemed like my brother was always being restrained, and usually my brother and I couldn't even figure out why, and we always worried if we were going to be next. We all three have sensory disorders that make unexpected touch a meltdown trigger or trigger what is called fight or flight reflex reaction. This means if you were to come up behind us and put a hand on our shoulder to lean over to show us something while we were working in class, we might startle and jump sky high out of our seats, or try and run away from whatever touched us, or we might even bat whatever it is away because we couldn't see what it was that was touching us. That's just how our brains and bodies work. Mother wrote the school letters explaining this, told whomever would listen in the classroom all about this, but usually she got brushed off and written off as a helicopter parent. We were probably 5 the first time it became a problem for us in school, but it certainly wasn't the last. My brother and I, along with the rest of the class, would have to watch while our brother was being restrained because he, like the rest of us with autism in the class, might have a meltdown. When you restrain somebody, they come up behind you and hold your hands across your body in an X and then hold you close to their body like a hug you can't really get out of, only harmful. If you can't break free, then you struggle to try and get away, and this only makes the adult's arms end up around your neck, which gives you the feeling that you can't breathe. And if you aren't melted down yet, then you soon will be. Let me also remind you that most consider a meltdown a form of injury, which is why we're supposed to have accommodations in the first place as special education students, to help us never reach that meltdown state at all. For a student who is small and has sensory issues like this, it is very scary to have this happen to you. It's scary for other students to see as well, dare I say traumatic. So if we are restrained and we melt down, which means our brains go on autopilot and our bodies into survival mode, then we are looked at as dangerous and put in a seclusion room in hopes that we will just calm down already. What makes anybody think a child who was just made to feel as if they were having the life squeezed out of them because they can't breathe could possibly calm down under these circumstances? I've had to watch this exact thing happen to my own brother time and time again while wondering if I was going to be next. If the restraint didn't set off his fight or flight reflex, being shoved into the seclusion room and the door shut behind him sure would. He was small, we were small. He felt like they were trying to kill him, and they melted him down to where his brain went on autopilot and his body tried to get away from what scared and hurt him. He would try and get out of that little room by throwing himself into the door and into the wall. I did the only thing I could do, and that was to try and stand up to the adults in the room, and I was punished for it too. I panicked because he was panicking. You would panic too if I were you. Or if it were you, sorry. It's only human. I am human. My brothers are human. This practice, it is not humane. Seclusion and restraint practices are harmful to the person it is happening to and the people who witness it, young and old alike. I ask that you please remove seclusion and restraint practices from schools so that children won't come home with bruises, handprints, and marks all over their bodies, and so that less classmates and siblings have to experience the trauma, abuse, and mistreatment of their peers, or, as in our case, our brother. Crisis intervention training and using that previously allocated funding to install those cameras in special education classrooms would also help make our schools a safe learning environment for all students. Thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you, Vivian. That was great.
Thank you.
We're proud of the both of you. Thank you for helping us do our job better.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I believe we have an amendment, Ms. Roberts, that we're going to offer today to get it in the right posture.
Yes, there's an additional amendment, Mr. Chairman and members. You all adopted earlier SLS 2431, which contained 4 amendments. This would be a 5th amendment, and it is in 2446. On page 10, it's deleting line 26 in its entirety, which is additional information that was requested. Representative Mack has asked staff to prepare that, and the Department of Education is in agreement with it.
All right, I will offer this for Representative Mack. This is 2446 members. Any objections to the adoption of 2446? Hearing or seeing none, 2446 will be adopted. All right, the board is clear. I believe we've read all our cards, got our amendments all in place. Representative Mack, if you'd like to come back to the table, you can close on your bill. All right. We're going to have to hold just for a moment. I need a quorum to approve, all right? It's on our side, their side? Is it today? Are they up already? Are they in there?
They're 15 minutes.
Away, or are you 50 minutes in?
They're about to start.
Okay, I'll get something in a minute.
We're trying to get a quorum there. She's checking with me, guys. I'm about to think about probably wasn't in the interim.
Okay. Bear with us, Representative Mack. We'll just,
Hey, I'm as happy as I can be, man.
I know you are. We'll stand at ease for a moment. Senator Andrews?
You're saying that we're off or something? You said bear with us. Are we off? Or can I ask him a question?
Well, I'll bring us back. We'll come back from standing at ease.
Oh,
Senator
ready?
Andrews.
Yes. Oh, waiting on a quorum. Representative Mack, when this legislation passes, would this finally ensure that there are going to be cameras in every classroom?
Every special ed classroom.
Yes, I mean
Yes, ma'am.
every special education classroom.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Andrews.
I don't know who he's talking to.
Thank you, Senator Miguez. And Representative, on your, I have an amendment officially I have to offer, 2431. Sorry. We already adopted that one. 2446. I'm offering for Representative Mack. Department of Education has approved. Any objections? Hearing no objections, that amendment will be adopted. Representative Mack, on your close.
Yeah, I want to say that my battery went dead on my laptop, and I had a long list of people to thank, and I wasn't able to print that list. But everybody that I worked with on this bill, and there were so many, it was just such a wonderful experience. And I just want to thank everybody that helped out. And I mean, really and truly, it was a team effort, and everybody was really just trying to work together to put the best bill possible for the children with disabilities. And with that being said, thank y'all for all y'all do to improve the education system in the state of Louisiana. And I'd ask that you move the bill favorably, please.
We're honored to work with you, and I'll offer HB 684 as amended. Any objections? Hearing or seeing none, it will be reported favorably. Thank you, Representative Mack, and thank you, wonderful folks, for being. I know you've been here a long time. Thank you for being here today.